Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Guitar 101. That's the series we're doing. We're starting from scratch. If you haven't watched the previous video where I go into all the stuff you're going to need to start, why don't you go back and check it out before you start. So this is for people that have not learned barely anything on guitar. So if you've learned nothing and know nothing, this is the place to start. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We'll get some of the stuff out of the way. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That'll every Sunday I'm going to drop these Guitar 101 videos. So you hit that notification bell and you won't forget. We're going to start off with the boring stuff, okay? I'm going to show you everything on the guitar, what everything's called. All this stuff is going to be important. Some of it for today, some of it for later, but it's all stuff that you should know. And I'm just going to go over the parts. This up here is called the head. This from here to here, this is the neck. This is the body. These little lines going across are the frets. This whole top up here is the fretboard. Okay. This, if you're playing acoustic, is the sound hole. Now this is kind of important here too. This right here is the bridge, and this right here is the nut. Okay, so sometimes when I say, you know, the nut or the bridge, so I know when I was new that I got those mixed up a lot. So this is the bridge, and this is the nut. These, of course, are the tuners. Okay. These are all things you can, if you want to memorize this stuff, you can, you know, rewind and do it over again. But those are the main parts. And now there's other things on the guitar, like if you're looking at, you know, buying one and you want the, you know, the product a certain way, then there's other things. But those are the most important things to get started. We're going to move on to more boring stuff. Remember, these were called frets. Each of these lines across here, well, each of these frets have a number, and it's kind of tricky. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you got it going all the way to the top. All right. The strings also have numbers. This part is a little more confusing for starters, but the high string is the number 1. So this is the first string, the second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, sixth string. If you're playing 7 or 8 strings, maybe you're here on the wrong video. Okay, so those are the numbers of the strings. Now this is another thing that's going to be important. This is all of these things I'm telling you now are things you need to memorize, so you don't really have to think about them. Each of the strings have a name. This is the high E. This is a E string. They call it the high E because there's another E string on the bottom. But so you have E. Let's start at the 6. We got E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay? E, A, D, G, B, E. Memorize those. All right? So when I pluck this string, it's called open. This is the open E string. This is an open E string. When you put your finger down, it's the number of the fret. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so when you hear an open string, that means you just pluck the string and don't put any fingers down on it. I know this is boring stuff, but I'm telling you, some of this stuff it comes back later and you don't know it. Then we got your fingers. Okay? This is the thumb. This is 1. This is 2, 3, 4. Thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, first finger, fourth finger, third finger, second finger. Got it? All right. If you need to pause and memorize that stuff, go ahead. Don't feel bad. All right, so now we're going to get started again. We got a pick. You got to have a pick because I teach with a pick. So I guess if you don't have a pick, you can use your thumb. But like I said, I teach with a pick, so it's going to be very important to have one. I talked about in the last video what you need. I would suggest a medium. At least a medium or a hard. Don't go with the lights yet. You might like them later, but I would go with the medium or the hard. All right, so what you want to do is you want to hold this, your thumb and your first finger, just like it looks. You want to leave about a little less than half of the pick out. That's going to move as you play more, but that's about where you want. Okay, so hold the pick, and then this is picking. So what you want to do is you want to hold the pick firmly enough that you're not going to drop it, but soft enough that it has a nice tone. You don't want to, you want to have it, and you want this arm to always be relaxed. You want to actually take a break every couple minutes and just remind yourself to keep this arm relaxed, because when you're first starting you can get really tense and that can really mess things up. So this is picking. This is called a downstroke because I'm going down. This, if you pluck up, it's called an upstroke. This is alternating because you're going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So what I want you to hear is practicing with that pick to get a nice steady sound. You can start with just downstrokes and try to keep an even rhythm, and then try to do up. Just get relaxed and used to using that pick hand. Now with strumming, you're going to be doing similar. You're going to have down and up strokes. We're just going to, right now, we're not going to play any chords. We're just going to put your hand lightly over the strings, and we're going to strum down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what you want to do is, depending on the song, depending on what, you want to get most of that strings in one sound. And you want all the strings to be sounding. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go. And then you have upstrokes with strumming too. And you watch my wrist. Now all this stuff is going to come back later. When I'm teaching you chords and teaching you that stuff, we're going to show you this again. But the wrist is just going to slightly relax in each direction. You're not going to go like this. Your arm is going to go up and down. And the wrist slightly changes angle. Just slightly. So okay, and you heard me earlier, the counting. In the music we're going to be doing, you're basically really only going to have a couple, they call them time signatures. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you have 4/4, which is a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and that has different speeds. And then you have the what they call 3/4, what they call waltz time, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but all you got to know with that is the counting part of it. So 1 is called the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it would be the same thing if you were plucking the string. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm switching to the next topics pretty quickly. I would like to remind you, in my earlier video, I thought that this would be best to do on a computer because you want to be able to sit down and be comfortable. But feel free to pause after each of these sections. I might timestamp them, but I'm afraid if I timestamp them, people will skip some stuff and then ask me questions in the comments that I answered in the video. Because I know when people are starting, they're in a rush and they want to get going. What I would like to say while I'm on that subject is feel free to leave comments, but what I'd like you to do, if you could help me out, is I'm going to pin the first comment for questions about the lesson, and I'd appreciate it if people would leave questions about the lesson in that pinned comment so I can see them all. Sometimes I miss comments here and there because, you know, YouTube. And you can, I mean, you don't have, you can leave other comments. You can, you know, say you love me or whatever you want to do. But if you have questions about the lesson itself, not my equipment or any of that. By the way, this is an FG, it's a Yamaha FG 3452. 3452. I get that question in just about every video. So yeah, I want to keep the questions, and that way you can maybe read some of the other comments in that pinned comment, and maybe, you know, we won't all be asking the same questions. But it's okay. Ask away. So now we were working on counting. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're not going to get too much deeper than this, but we're also going to go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Okay, so 1 is the down, and is the down, up is an up. So down, down, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Strum. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Watch my hand. I'm always keeping it moving. That's going to be my metronome for me. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. What we want to stray away from doing is having the stiff wrist. You want to keep that. I have some strumming videos out there if you want to check them out later, but I talk about relaxing your wrist and how this is kind of like a dance or kind of like drumming. But what we're doing now is we're just going to go through things so you understand my language, so you understand the dictionary. Okay? So that's the info. Now we're going to go into basically some of the stuff I want you to work on. So all of those things I told you I want you to memorize. And this is some of the stuff you can work on. The string names, okay? E, A, E, A. Now what I want you to do is, as you're plucking the string, say the name of the string out loud. E, A, D, G, B, E, and then go backwards. E, B, G, D, A, E. And then, as you're memorizing those, start alternating a little bit so you know the name of the string. So E, A, E, D, A, G, D, B, alternate around and get those down, because when I say go to the G string, you don't want to be like, wait, 1, 2, 3, that's the G. So you want to memorize the names of those strings. So then you can also do this if you want to. While you're doing that, you can practice your down, up, down, up, down, up, E, up, E, up, A, up, A, up, A. See how my hands slightly firm but relaxed? A, up, A, up, A, up, D, up, D, up, D, up. Okay. Another thing we can work on for next week, because I'm going to teach you 2 chords. I showed you the 1 chord. I'm going to have some better charts than this coming up, but I wanted to get started, so I wanted to teach you how to read this tab, because you see it in other things, not quite as sloppy. You see it. You want to look at these as the strings like this. Okay, so this is the E string, the A string. You see how that's the neck, right? And these X's mean you don't play these strings, and these O's mean that they're open strings. So the O's are the open strings, and the X's are you don't play them. Now on most of these, it's not going to really matter if your pick strays off and hits them. We're not performing right now, we're just practicing. Another thing is that you're going to see a chord name at the bottom most of the time, and when you see any letter number that just says the number, just says the letter, I'm sorry, letter number, what is it? Then it's automatically major. Not important right now, but just so you understand, when you see a G, that's assumed that it's a G major. It's already that. So just remember that. So right here we have a G, and this little dot here is where you're going to put your 3rd finger. When I get the better chord charts, I'm going to put numbers on the fingers. But right now, let's do this. So what you want to do, you got your 3rd finger right here. You're going to put that on the 1st string on the 3rd fret. Okay? Then you're going to strum down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do some down ups. But remember, we don't call them down ups, we call them andas. So we're going to 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay? You got that? Alright, so now I'm going to teach you the chord that you're going to practice for next week. Okay? You're going to take your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret. Alright? You're going to take your 1st finger, 2nd fret, 3rd string. Okay? Then you're going to take your 3rd finger, 3rd fret, 2nd string. Okay? That's called a D. Now what you want to do is you want to get those fingers down from the top. Okay? And at first you're going to have to pick them out one at a time. But one of the things you can work on for next week is trying to get to the point where you don't have to look and figure out each one. This is one of the most played chords in all of guitar music, you're going to learn it and you're going to laugh at yourself that you had trouble learning it, because later on you're going to be playing it all the time. But so you want to come down from the top. Also, you want to have your fingernails short. Okay? Down from the top. And the reason I say down from the top is you don't want, one of the tough things at the beginning is going to be every one of those notes sounding. So just practice that. Take your hand off. Go back to it. I like to start with the first finger. Well, actually my hand goes right to it, but if you look at it in slow motion, the first finger goes down and the next two go down. So slow motion, do, 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 do. Right? Do, 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 do. All right. And then this is where it gets tricky. You're going to switch to that G that we learned. And all you're going to do is you're going to take the third finger and move it here. So slow motion, D, and we're just doing down 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Move this finger over and try and do that as fast as you can. I mean, not at the beginning, but as you get better at it, try and switch back and forth. Because what we're going to do as we go along is we're going to learn more and more chords. So you don't want to be relearning the first ones you learn. You want to get that bass. And then every time we add a chord, it's going to be easier because you're already going to know the other chords. I think that's enough for this week. Like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the pinned comment, please, just so I can have them all organized and have the questions in one place. I want to thank you for coming. I hope this is going to be fun. The very beginning of guitar can be, well, your whole career in guitar can be joy and failure. And don't let the failure slow you down. Find that one thing that you're actually good at and feel the joy of it. And if you do these lessons in probably about a month, you're going to actually look back and say, wow, I can actually play a little bit of guitar. Remember that rewind button. Also, sometimes you can hit the slow motion button if that helps you out. If sometimes if I talk too fast or anything like that. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna teach some people to play guitar. I have in the past, and I'm glad to be back to it. Like, subscribe, notification bell. I got my members here. We got Sunflower Girl, Ted O'Sullivan, and Jared Camerata. I work with Jared, and I always have trouble with his last name because I never knew his last name. I knew him for years, and I didn't know his last name. I hope he's not watching this video. If you wanna join, it's $2 a month. That's the perk that you get. I read your name. Maybe we'll work on something later. Any kind of tips would help. Anybody that knows about YouTube, as this is not much of a paying gig at the beginning, so appreciate it. Once again, that happens at the end of my videos as I ramble. So what I'm going to say is, take it easy.